Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Diamond Moment. I'm your host, Luciana Cordero, and I'm here with Master Rafael Garcia, who's going to talk to us a little bit about his journey in martial arts and the big list of accomplishments that he has managed to achieve so far. Hi, Rafael, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Well, that's my job. But yeah, I'm so happy to have you here today.
No, I'm happy to be on. Thank you guys. And I just finished teaching a class and I jumped in the shower real quick and I jumped on here. So I'm sorry if I was a couple minutes late.
Oh no, you're good. You're completely good. We always run into different things that we need to fix every time before going starting recording, so it's okay. But yeah, I wanted to start off by talking to you a little bit about your journey in martial arts and how you got started. I know that you've been training since you were 9 years old.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, what's the first thing that drew you to martial arts being so young?
Probably Bruce Lee, Chinese theater. I always had a fascination with the martial arts and ninja stuff. And just back in the 70s and 80s, had every hero knew some kind of martial arts and had to use martial arts to defend themselves or to protect people. So I was always drawn to that, and I just always wanted to do it. And when we moved from Indiana, when I was like 8 or 9, to Florida, was when I was able to start.
So, in your journey, you've been able to master black belts in different disciplines, and I wanted to know how has this cross training in different styles shaped your philosophy in both like your journey as a martial artist and as a coach.
Well, I always wanted to be well rounded as a martial artist, and we didn't really have any really ground game in this area. As far as jujitsu, we had judo, and we had one of the top judo guys, Ed Maley, here in town, but he was all the way in South Tampa area, so I couldn't really drive over there. My parents, already were taking me to Master Fred Montesino to go train. He was on Martin Luther King, but Ed Maley was deep on McDill, so I couldn't really go train judo with him. So I just started with Taekwondo, Kempo Karate, and then started competing. Loved to compete, and then it went from there to learning more about kickboxing and working my hands more. Because Taekwondo traditional is more of a kicking style, which it's funny because like I'm still kicking and I'm 49 years old and I can still kick like I did in my teens and in my 20s. I can still do jump kicks, double, triple kicks in the air and all that. But what I've done is developed it into my system with the ground and everything else to where you use your hands to set up your kicks and it's more high percentage kicks and punches that we're using, not really fancy stuff. But sometimes the fancy stuff still works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went from the Taekwondo, Kempo Karate, kickboxing, and then I started dabbling into MMA. I wanted to do mixed martial arts, and I did jiu-jitsu for the first time. This was in 1998 with a guy named Shane Dunn, who I just put into the Florida Mixed Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and him and a guy named Alex, the Chief Hunter, who was in UFC, I believe it was like 7 or 8, and they were out of St. Pete, but the same thing, they were so far away that I dabbled into it. It piqued my interest, but I couldn't get over there enough times to train. So I waited, and then I brought in Ross Kellen and Dave Hurley and Marco Santos. Those were my first instructors. They were all brown belts at the time. When I started training jiu-jitsu was in 2003. And back then, we used to say a unicorn was a purple belt because you rarely saw a purple belt, but when you saw someone who was a purple belt, you knew they were legit and they could probably beat people that are black belts in other styles of martial arts. So I was always intrigued by that. And then my goal was to at least reach a purple belt. I never thought I'd get a black belt. And I ended up getting a black belt. Then from there, kept on teaching and training and learning from different people. And then I just got my first, second, then my third degree now. And I have black belts that are under me that have gyms now too and stuff like that. So it's just like an ongoing thing. You just continue doing it. You have the blinders on, and you really don't have the time to sit down and really notice your accomplishments and what you've done until like we had some downtime during COVID. And then I had time to sit down and really reflect on, oh, wow, we did this. I actually got to train with Carl Gotch, when he came to my gym looking for Carl Malenko back in 2006 or 2007 or something like that. And he's the godfather in Japan. They call him the godfather of catch wrestling. So he trained a lot of top guys like Jody Malenko. He trained Josh Barnett. Sakuraba uses a lot of his catch wrestling stuff when he used to fight the Gracies. And then from the very beginning, my lineage has always been Carlson Gracie lineage because Marcos Santos was under a Brazilian top team under Bustamante, and he ranked Ross and Hurley, their black belts. So I've always considered myself a Carlson Gracie lineage. That's my background, and now I'm under Ronaldo Santos, who's given me my first, second, and third degree rankings, and Carlson Gracie Jr., who I just went and trained with in Brazil again, and he comes to town, he stays at my house and all that. So I'm under those two gentlemen right now.
Wow, yeah, and you've trained, like you just mentioned, a lot of different big names in the industry, and you've trained with some of the most iconic people in martial arts. So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from these experiences?
Just stay humble and always learn. No one knows everything. So you go out there and ask the questions. And I got to train with Joe Lewis too, the kickboxer, back in 2000. I trained with him a few times whenever they would bring him in town. America Dragon Dojo, my buddies, Cyril Dominguez and Eddie Dominguez, they would bring him down. So I got to train with Joe Lewis a few times. And he opened my mind up where in the martial arts, growing up, you ask a question, we would do like one steps or forms, and you would ask, why do we do this? And they would just tell you, oh, just do it because of this. But they never give you like a specific answer. So when I started training with him, he was like, I asked him a question. Why would I do this? Well, you do it because of this. And this is the mechanics behind your punch, behind your kick, your rotation here. So he had science to back up everything he was showing. And that really opened my eyes up to thinking outside the box and asking questions and getting answers to a lot of stuff that I had questions for since I was little. And that's how it's always been. If I have an instructor or someone I train with, uh, I'll ask questions, and if they can't give it to me, I'll go somewhere to find the answers because someone knows it. With my students, I'm kind of the same way. If I don't know something, I'll tell them, I don't know it. Let's figure it out together, or just I know somebody that probably knows it, and we'll figure it out together. So I'm always learning. Being 49 years old, you're never too old to learn. I see myself still doing this in my 70s. If I was younger, I'd still be fighting because when I used to fight, I was 3-0 as a pro fighter in MMA, and I really enjoyed the MMA, putting it all together from standing to the ground to strikes on the ground to submissions. It's like playing chess. That's what I always felt like. It was like playing chess. Got to be a move ahead. If they do something to stop what you're doing, you got to have an answer for that. So I've always been fascinated with martial arts and every style basically.
Yeah, I love what you said, comparing it to playing chess and also mentioning how important it is to be open to keep learning. Because from the outside, one may look at martial arts and just think of it as a physical sport, but there's so much that goes into it that comes from your mind. Like, if you don't train your mind, your body won't be able to match up to it. So I wanted to ask you, like, how important do you think that is? Like, being focused and making sure that you're not just training physically, but like training every aspect of your lifestyle.
Well, like when you start martial arts, they always show you the Korean flag has the yin and yang in the middle, the blue and the red. That's your mind and your body. That was always a philosophy I learned from Taekwondo. Was always your mind and body have to be one. That's how fighting is. If my mind is perfect, but I didn't do the conditioning and the body preparation to fight, I'm not going to be as successful. If I did the preparation with my body, but my mind isn't there, my mind is somewhere else, maybe having issues with a girlfriend, maybe I'm thinking about bills that are due. Maybe I'm like psych myself out. I get nervous. Oh my God, the guy looks scary or so. All those things play a factor on how you're going to perform. So you have to have a strong mind and you have to have the strong conditioning in the body to go with it. It goes hand in hand. But 75% of fighting is mental. You could win a fight and lose a fight just by the way you think.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask you about like this whole learning curve that one has to take to be able to master martial arts. Um, I wanted to know what motivates you, like besides just the pleasure of learning new things. what else motivates you to keep fighting even now, at 49 years of age, still pushing? And you just said that you plan to be here till you're uh, over than 70. So what keeps pushing you forward?
I think it's me learning and being able to give back to my students. So not just the fighters, but just like normal people. The best thing I've ever had over the years, I've had my gym now 27 years here in Tampa. And the best compliment I've ever gotten from somebody is, "Oh man, that thing you showed me saved my life. I defended myself. This person came up and grabbed me, or these people came to get me, and I used that technique to defend myself." That's like the best compliment I could get from anybody. I've had that from multiple people. So not only does it work for fighters and fighting, it also works in real life situations.
Yeah, and what are the key values that you try to teach your students?
Just be humble, respectful. I try to teach a lot of the martial arts aspects as far as bowing when you go on the mat, bowing when you leave. And the whole purpose behind that is if I had a bad day at work and I come to the gym to train, as soon as I take my shoes off and I bow to get on that mat, you leave all of those bad thoughts, that bad day with your shoes. You come in, you train, you stay open minded, you focus. Uh, as soon as you leave, you bow out, you're done with the class, you put your shoes back on. Now you go back to real life and you deal with your problems. That's the way I was taught as a martial artist, and that's the way it should be. The only problem I see today with the way the martial arts world's going is you have martial artists and you have guys that are fighters. The difference is a martial artist trains year round and is always looking to get better and train and train and train, where a fighter only really trains when he's got a fight coming up. Then he's slacking most of the time. But most of the time, if he's got a fight coming up, he's going to put a good fight camp, 8 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is, where a martial artist is training year round, trying to be better than they were 6 months ago.
Yeah, and that pushing and fighting and that will to keep learning led you to be able to fund the World Class Fight League. And I wanted to ask you what inspired you to create it and what was your original vision for it?
Well, I didn't want to do it. I was still doing stuff with the RFC, which is the first promotion here in Tampa area that did pro shows, real fighting championships. But I was doing a radio show at the time, the Florida Combat Network at CBS Sports, with a guy. We had it on for about a year or so. And we were doing that, interviewing fighters, UFC, and everywhere else. And he gave me the idea, let's do a show. You can match make, blah, 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 put your fighters. And I was like against it at first. And then we started to do it, and he screwed me over the first show, and then he screwed me over the second show. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I can do this. And he opened that door to where I saw the opportunity to give to my fighters. So now I have a platform. The guys are coming up after me. I could build them up as an amateur, show them, how to be professional in the amateur ranks, give them the setting to fight every 2 to 3 months here locally, and then bring people in for them to fight, but also teach them how to do interviews, how to get sponsors, things that's going to help them grow when they become professional. And that was the whole reasoning behind me doing World Class Fight League. And now that was in what we did, the Florida Combat Challenge in 2011, 2012, and I think I started doing World Class Fight League in 2013. So
Yeah, it not only like helps, train and the fighters like in the martial arts, but with everything that comes with it. I think it's great, and it's an amazing opportunity that's being given to so many different fighters. Um, and I wanted to ask you too, like, what are some of the most memorable moments or fights that you have, seen or lived in the WCFL history?
Wow, we've had some exciting fights. The two fights that really stick out in my head, we had Mike Perry fighting Dave Mundell. Both guys are champions in BKFC right now. Perry had a great career in the UFC, and he went on to go to BKFC and win the I forgot what they named that title, baddest man on the planet or something title, whatever. And then Dave Lundell won I think it's 185 title, and he's been defending it and doing big things in BKFC. So I'm proud of both those guys. They both had a fight, and it was weird the way that fight came together. This is probably about 2014, 2015, maybe even before that. Uh, Dave Lundell was coming off an injury. He was gone for 6 months, and he was coming back, and he was my 170 champion at the time for WCFL. And Mike Perry, him and Alex Nicholson, another guy who ended up going to UFC and stuff, they both fought on my card. So, but Perry got in trouble, so he was on probation. So I had to talk to his probation officer to get him here to fight in Tampa because he was living in Orlando, and I had to have him back in Orlando by midnight. So I had to write a letter and do all this, jump hoops. I had to put him in the front of the card. So I didn't think too much about that fight. I was like, all right, this might be an okay fight. That fight was fire. Those guys in the first round were trying to take each other's heads off. Uh, in the last 10 seconds, Mundell, Rock, Perry had him out of there, and then the bell rang. And then his corner comes up, grabs him, throws him on a stool. He falls off the stool, and I'm sitting there caged like going, this guy's not going to come back from this. I thought that he'd sit on the stool and that'd be it. Now, Perry's tough, man. He comes out the second round, and they're going at it again, and he ends up catching Dave and knocking Dave out and winning the fight. So that is probably one of my highest viewed fights on my WCFL MMA YouTube page. And then two other fights that stick out. My favorite female fight is I had Grand Hill's daughter, Mila. She fought for us, and she was the main event. She fought another girl from Gracie, Tampa, that was training there at the time, and they fought each other, and they had a war. They were going back and forth. The third round, Mila got her in a ninja choke and tapped her out with like maybe about a minute or so left in that last round. But that fight was back and forth. Both those girls left it all out there, and to see that at an amateur level, both those girls look like they're professional. We had a big house for that one. We had Riddick Bowe in the house for that one. We had Grant Hill, his wife. He brought somebody else from the NBA. Antonio Tarver and his son were there for that one too. That was one of our biggest shows, and that was our main event. And then another fight I think we were the first ones to do this. We had a transgender fight. Jita, who used to fight for us, Jita's a guy, but she wanted to fight. When she hit me up a year prior, I was against that. I thought she wanted to fight. He wanted to fight girls. And I was like, no, I'm never going to do that. I have girl fighters. I'm never going to let them fight a guy. That's not fair. But he was like, no, I want to fight guys still. I have no problem with that. I said, okay, I'll get you a fight. Then the hardest part was people trying to step up to fight Jita because they were scared. It's like a lose-lose in their mind. If I beat them up, they think I beat up a girl. If I lose to him, it makes me look bad like I lost to a girl. So it was back and forth. But Shane Mistrada stepped up. He was one of the guys that fought, and him and Jita went back and forth, and he ended up where that video went viral. I think it was on World Star and all this, and even Israel DeSantis on UFC when he was still champ. He talked about it in one of the press conferences they had about that fight because someone asked him that question, and then so I got probably about 500,000 views on that video alone from Jita fighting Shane Mistrada.
Wow, yeah, it's so many different memories and experiences, and I bet there are a lot more with all the years that this has been going on and all the amazing people that have participated. Um, but I wanted to go and look a little bit more into the future now. So, well, we'll look at the past so we can jump to the future. So, how have you seen the the MMA scene in Florida like evolve since you first started WCFL?
All right, so yeah, it's blown up a lot. Where I used to have 25 to 28 fights on one card, and they were all MMA fights. So it's evolved so much because there's so many shows going on now, so many gyms that now most cards are about 15 to 16 fights, and you don't just have MMA anymore. You have boxing, you have kickboxing. Where before, the boxing guys, they didn't want to box in a cage. Oh, it's not traditional. We have to box in a ring. Now they're open to, I just want the experience. It's amateur. Let me go box in a cage. Kickboxers, same thing. Muay Thai guys and MMA. So on one card, 16 fights, you might have 8 MMA fights and the rest are boxing and kickboxing. So you get a little bit of everything. And we might throw in a grappling match or two here and there also. So it's changed a lot with that aspect. But the biggest change, I think, overall was before COVID. It was always when it came to MMA, California was number one. Florida was always a strong number two. But we always like we were there. We're the best teams and best fighters in the world. Once COVID hit, and California was shut down for so long, a lot of people left there. Like we got people like Royce Gracie lives in Sarasota, Tito Ortiz lives in Fort Myers. You know, Ken Shamrock when he came down here, he lives in Texas. He was looking to eventually move to Florida too. But you have all these guys that moved over here, and then we have some of the best teams. Like not because I'm biased, but the best team in the world, American Top Team. I'm part of their team. Our headquarters in Coconut Creek has produced some of the best fighters since 2000 when they first became American Top Team to now. You got to give it to Dan Lambert and Conan for them being such innovators and giving these fighters a platform in a gym like American Top Team to perform. And if you look when the first title, I remember when they put it in that school, it was Robbie Lawler's first UFC title. Now you have so many multiple UFC titles besides PFL, Bellator, Rise, Pride. They have so many belts and so many great coaches and great fighters out of that team, and it keeps on evolving like everything else. Like you see, like Michael Jackson, Madonna, what kept them relevant over the years? They always evolved and changed. That's how it is to be a martial artist. You have to always change with the times. You have to evolve. If I was still doing my traditional Taekwondo stuff that I did in the 80s and 90s, I would be out of business today. I have to evolve, learn, and apply. That's the only way to keep relevant in this sport that we're in.
Yeah, and I think that applies to almost everything now with like technology developing so fast and everything changing. If you don't evolve, you get stuck and then you can't move forward. But yeah, I kind of wanted to link that into what are some of the challenges that you think that regional promotions like WCFL face today?
Uh, Today, it's like keeping these fighters um, keeping their word basically where they tell me they're going to fight for us, but they're going to fight for us. They don't stop. Oh, I fought 2 weeks before, I got hurt, now I can't fight for you. That's been our biggest challenge for a lot of these guys that aren't really fighters because now social media is so big that they say they're fighters and then they're posting about fighting and they're hitting a bag and I'm training, I'm getting ready for a big fight. And we go out of our way to make a poster, and then they pull out a week or two before. They pull out a couple of days before because they use some lame excuse like, "Oh, I'm 20 pounds overweight." Man, you've had this fight for 2 months. You should have known that. Or I never got my medicals in time. Oh, can you pay for my medical? We can't. We don't do that. That's you. That's on you. It's your medicals. You get them done. They're good for a year. So it's like little things like that that become frustrating dealing with certain fighters. But after a fighter does that so often, so a lot of us promoters we still talk and we just ban those guys from ever fighting for any of us.
Yeah, I think it links back to what you were saying earlier about the difference between just being a fighter and being a martial artist and being able to recognize people who are not taking it seriously.
Hmm.
In a way, it opens up the space for people who do want to be there and do want to make themselves better and participate and give all they have. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it's good that you guys talk between each other and you have a way to find a solution to this problem.
Yeah.
Um,
Most of us promoters, we talk. We try not to step on each other's toes, even though we do most of the time, but we try not to. And then there's a lot of gyms that, they're just trying to get their fighters exposure and stuff. And that's why I'm happy to be working with you guys. So this next card, August 1st, we're going to be able to give these fighters more exposure, get their names out there, get their gyms out there, so people can start seeing it more. Just like you guys did with Amir's card. I loved what you guys did.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we think that it's really important for people to like part of following a sport is not just about the sport, it's about the people who take part of it. And sometimes we forget that the people who participate are humans. So it's important to show the audience who these people are and who they're rooting for. So yeah, I'm really happy that you like what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen what you guys did. I actually did some commentating for you guys at Amir's, So I always have fun doing that. I used to do that with the RFC all the time, and I did it Spanish commentating for WFC one time. But I always enjoyed doing that. Anytime you could watch, you got front row seats to watch a good combat sport fight, whether it be kickboxing, boxing, or MMA, and you get to have the best seat in the house. You get to talk and let people, see what you're seeing through what you're saying. So you're explaining exactly what's going on and breaking stuff down to the average person who doesn't know, oh, he did this for a reason to set this up. And they don't see that. They just see two guys punching and kicking and looking for takedowns. And a lot of times, too, it's funny. To this day, there's still people you hear in the crowd when the fight goes to the ground because they don't understand jiu-jitsu and they don't see what the guys are doing, or the guy can't get up when Khabib or somebody takes them down. They're like, oh, my God, ref, stand them up. Oh, my God, this is but they don't see the other guy can't get up because this guy's technique is so good. He's able to hold them there and he's winning the round, beating them up. And it's their job to get back up, not the referee to save them.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about like where do you see the WCFL in the future, say in the next like 5 to 10 years? How do you think this is going to keep evolving?
I don't know. If you would ask me that question 5, 10 years ago, I would have probably had a different answer for you. Now, my mindset the last few years, I don't dabble so much in the past and I don't dabble so much in the future. I try to live in the moment. So I see what we're doing now. I would like to see what we're doing in the future, but it all depends on what we're doing now. And I'm trying to do August 1st. That's my goal right now. I want to build that show up and then go from there. But I try not to look so far in the future. I would love to still be doing this. And if we're on the same path that we're on now, and basically what it comes down to is having a team around you. If you have a good team around you and you have everybody doing their pieces and everybody works together, that's how you keep your product moving forward and growing, which that's what I'm trying to do right now is build a good team around me. Hopefully you guys bringing you guys in helps with that, but I'm just trying to build a team so we could take it to that next level and maybe do another pro show like we've done in the past or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's a great way to think. Sometimes if we linger too much in the past or too much in like the future, that it's too far ahead, we may lose sight of what we have right in front of us. And right now, what we have is this fight coming up, and yeah, I think it's great to look forward to it and just work to have a great team to help us like get there and make the best out of it. So yeah, that was great advice, and I just wanted to close off with my final question, which, if you've seen the other interviews, you've probably heard it before, but I love asking this, and it's what advice would you give to young fighters who are looking to break into the professional circuit?
Don't bullshit yourself. Be humble enough to take criticism and do the things you need to do to be a well-rounded fighter. Just because I'm good here doesn't mean that I'm good everywhere else. So if I have holes in my game, which every fighter does, get with the right coach. If you have to go to multiple coaches, different gyms, fill those holes up so you could be a well-rounded fighter. You just don't want to be known for knocking guys out. You don't want to be just known for submitting guys because eventually you're going to come across that guy that's going to be your kryptonite. There's always that one guy out there that's going to beat you. But not just that, just don't lie to yourself. Take the criticism and be your hardest critic yourself. Like my biggest thing when I fought was I used to overtrain because I never thought I did enough. So sometimes that becomes worse because if you overtrain, it's almost like not training. So you got to have an equal balance. But I never bullshitted myself and told myself I was better than what I was, or I'm better here than I really am. I always took criticism and I worked and I got better. And if I couldn't find the answers, I went out and got the answers from somebody else. Uh, I would also tell them, don't be scared to ask for sponsors. Know your worth. Go out there. If it starts at $100, this could be my sponsor today. You never know. Once you build up and you become a professional, that same sponsor might give you a couple $1,000s. But don't get greedy and ask for the big sponsor right away. Start small. Ask for $100, $150. put them on your shirt, put them on your social media, but build from there, because that builds a bond that's going to last later on if you end up doing this for a long time. Also, I know loyalty runs both ways. You know, always remember who showed you what, who got you where. They might not be here forever for this part of your journey. You might have to go to a different gym, but always remember the guys that got you there and give them their flowers. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's great advice. And yeah, I think that's it for today. It was great talking to you. And yeah, it was just amazing hearing all the stories that you have and all the knowledge that you have too. And yeah, I guess what we can take from this is keep learning and be
You're
open
never too old.
to opportunities. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
But
much. It was great having
I
you here.
appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. Don't forget World Class Fight League, August 1st. It's a Friday. We're going to be at the Cuban Civic Center. They have alcohol, they have food. It's a beautiful venue. We're going to have action packed card, 15, 16 action packed fights for you guys. Come support these local athletes that are amateurs now, but they're going to be professionals in the next few months or years, and you'll be seeing them on TV on UFC, ONE FC, or PFL or something. But come out and support them, guys. For the price of the ticket, it's like, you know, what, $25 to $50 for a general admission ticket. That's like a price of a beer tab when I go out at night, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event and it's going to be really fun. So we expect to see everyone there.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.